Okay, Tony asked me two questions. How did I know that that had fat wood in it, this 2x4? And how do I make these little things right here? Now let's go with the how I knew that was fat wood. Well, it's pine, first of all, and all pine trees have fat wood in it. Some trees, pine, have more fat wood than others. And how I spotted these were red. And the rest of the 2x4 was white. Let's get that out of the way because we don't need that now. And as you can see in this is a flat board. Right there's a fat wood knot. That's loaded with fat wood. There's some fat wood. There's a piece of fat wood. And on down here, there's a little one right there. And they go through the other side. And I made one of them wood burnings on it. I'm gonna cut it off right here, but that's just to show you that there's fat wood in everything, in the pine. All right, now this is one of them wood burnings I did, and there's a little piece of fat wood knot right there, Tony, and right there's another one right there, and then on the back side, I made this in 1992. See that little fat wood knot right there, Tony? There's you another one. There's a little itty bitty one right there. There's a little itty bitty one right there. Another one right there. There's even a little one right there where I cut my slots to hang this up on the wall. Here's another piece of fat wood. I took it out. And then there's one right there. That's a fat wood knot. But that would be the limb. That right there would be the limb coming out on the tree. And then here's the piece that goes into the tree trunk. And then this would be the limb coming out, Tony. And then see how that would fit in there? That's how that would be in the limb. And the same thing down here on this bottom one. That would be the limb coming out on the tree. And when a pine tree gets hurt, like if the wind blows and a limb breaks off, it sends that sap, the fat wood sap, to the injury. Just like if you had cut yourself and then it scars up and it heals. Well, that's what the pine tree is doing. The pine tree is healing itself with that sap. If you remember a video here a couple of years ago, I'd sent Shalisha Shell some bent forks and a bent knife and some other tools. That's to get that, she calls them pine boogers. See, when a pine tree injures itself, it's sending that fat wood or pine sap to heal the wound. And then it'll get it in a big clump. Well, Shalisha Shell calls them pine boogers. And it ain't nothing but the fat wood. And it's sealing up a scar or a damaged part on the tree. Just like you would, if you got cut, you know, it would heal up. And that's what the pine tree is doing. It's trying to heal it up so it ain't exposed. And so like this, here's a limb. And if you'd stick that right there, see how that almost fits in there? That almost fits in there like perfect. Like it grew off of this tree. But I got this out of a totally different tree than what this board came from. That's just like my handle. That's that handle I put on my ferro rod that I wore out. And see how that would fit right in there, Tony? This would be the limb. Here's another piece of fat wood limb, and that would, look at that one. That one almost fits in there too. But every little knot you see and it's red, that's got fat wood in it. Now the other question you asked was, how did I make these little pocket fire starters? Well, you know these Ferrocerium rods that I'd got off of Nathan4071. It's the same one I got in my boot strings. It's the same one in this one here. See, this is a limb. That was in the tree, and then this limb came out. And then what I did is I just drilled a hole down through it, see? I drilled a hole down through it, and then I cut out this little groove here, and then I put some glue down in here and some glue up here, and I slid that down in, and then it glued it up inside. And that's the same way I did with these. And I made all these. This is a 22 Magnum bullet casing, and then I slid one up inside there and put some of that good glue up in there and would hold it. Here, this was the first one I made, Tony. Piece of fat wood. See, it's a limb. See, it's red. See how it's red here, and then kind of white here, where you can see how the round of the limb was, see? I drilled a hole down through here. It's got glue in it. You can't see it very good. Then I slid that ferrocerium rod down in, just like that. And I got a piece of another fat wood here. This is some of Jason's Rural Water Sticky Icky. I took a marker so the camera would see the line, and that's where I'd cut it off. And then I'd take a drill. Got a drill with a drill bit. I'd stick it right there. I'd drill all the way down through there, Tony, until I got the depth I needed. And then now I've got a hole there, see? Then I'd take the ferrocerium rod and put a little bit of glue on it, and then I'd shove it down that hole. And then I would, well, before I shoved the ferrocerium rod down the hole, I would cut out that little groove right there, see? So it'd expose that much of the ferrocerium rod. So now you got the ferrocerium rod right in there. Just like this one here I made. And there's the Nathan4071 Ferrocerium rod. You can see how far it goes down in on this side and how much you got on this side here, see? That's what it looks like on the inside. And I just shoved it down in the hole. And I'd already had this, after I'd drilled the hole, I then took the chunk here out to expose the ferrocerium rod. Did the same thing on that one. Did the same thing on this one. The only difference is, this is my fat wood, and this is from New Zealand, Jason's Sticky Icky from Rural Water. It's just a little chunk of fat wood. And yeah, we'll get that off of there. Scrape your fat wood off. Now you got your Nathan4071 Ferrocerium rod. Fire. And how many fires you going to get out of that, Tony? You're going to get a lot of fires out of that stick. And if the ferrocerium rod wears out, simply put a brand new one in it. Put a brand new one in it. Yeah, there's some pine sap right there. I showed that on another video. It's starting to dry up more and more as it gets older. When it first runs out, it's clear. Then it starts turning a white crystal-like. And if it just dries out, it'll dry out real hard. But that's nothing more than the tree healing itself. And that's what every piece of fat wood is. It's the sap inside the tree, and it's healing itself. If the wind blows and a limb breaks off, it's going to heal itself. Just like if you get cut, you're going to heal yourself. Well, that's the tree's defense. So insects and stuff don't get into the wound part and, you know, damage the tree. So all them little veins, them little streaks, that'd be like your blood veins in your body, and it's sending that sap. See them stripes? It's sending that to the wound whenever the tree gets damaged. And how I spot fat wood is I just look for that red. See that red? If it's brown, it ain't got any fat wood in it. But if it's red, because it's got that like that amber color, you can just spot it right off. But that's all it is. That's all fat wood is. It ain't nothing but a pine tree with sap in it that's flammable. And when it gets damaged, it's just sending that sap to its damaged part, so it will seal the wound up. And Shalisha Shell, she likes that sap. She calls it pine boogers, because it'll come out in a big old clump, and of course it's just as flammable as your fat wood, except there's no wood with it. It's all sap. But it'll burn just as good. You can make that into a candle, Tony. Take a candle wick and stick it down in there, and that would burn just like a candle. It burns just like you catch your fat wood on fire, except there ain't going to be no wood with it. So I hope I've answered your questions, and I can make one out of that now. Because I got plenty of these little Nathan4071 Ferrocerium rods. I've got these in my boots. See, I've got them in these little 22 Magnum casings. I even got my own little fat wood handle. Now see, that's a fat wood knot there too, Tony. The inner cord came out, and it was a denser red than this was. So I don't know if you can see that right there or not, but you can see there's Let me see if I can get it to focus in. The fat wood is just thick in there, and that's where I would scrape it off, and then of course scrape your ferrocerium rod, and you got a fire. So I hope that answers all your questions, bud, and I'll see you on the next one.